Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Ian, I want to ask you, how are you dealing with the current worldwide situation with the coronavirus? And can you explain how Sweden managed the pandemic?
Yeah, well, it's in Sweden. There's not so many strict restrictions. It's more up to the common sense of people to avoid the with the social distancing and all that. So it's not very. I mean, I don't go out very much anyway. So, but it's not a big difference, for it's not like empty streets and people are locked down in their houses and stuff like that. But I think you can definitely tell that people are a lot more aware of keeping the distance and everything. And of course, it's for me personally, I think it's really it's. I mean, we had a tour, a long tour planned for this year, with Whitesnake in Europe and with Foreigner in Kansas in America, and everything was canceled, obviously. And so I mean, it was a huge loss in income. But I would say the what I think is the hardest is that you don't get to do what you do. I mean, I'm a drummer. I want to play drums. I want to be on stage in front of an audience and entertain. That's my personality. That's my purpose. And it's like being robbed from your personality. And I think that it's I speak for most musicians, at least that I know of. They have the same feeling, that they feel robbed of their personality. They can't do what they want to do. And I think that is what is most annoying and most frustrating for me. So I mean, I can't wait to have this pandemic over with.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you.
So you, all this time you were working at the radio station?
Yeah, that's correct. This is my sort of daytime work or nighttime work, because I'm doing the nighttime show. So I'm actually going to be on air in an hour. So it's
What time is there?
It's 5:05 in the afternoon. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I do. But I've been doing this. I've been working at Rock Classic now for a little more than 20 years.
Oh.
So
and what do you do in the show? You talk about.
I'm the DJ. Yeah, I do the talking and presenting the songs and telling stories about. The cool thing with this radio station is that basically everything that we play on air, either I've met the artists, or I've toured with them, so there's always little stories that I can attach to every song, which is very, which is good for this radio station.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I have a question. Not about that.
All right.
As a musician, who were your influences? Who inspired you as a musician, as a drummer?
Yeah. Well, I remember very, very clearly when I decided to start playing drums, and that was when I heard Rainbow Rising with Richard Blackmore from Deep Purple, his solo band after Deep Purple, Rainbow. They had an album out called Rising, and on that album the drummer Cozy Powell played, and he's very much like John Bonham from Led Zeppelin and maybe a little bit Ian Pace from Deep Purple, that kind of really powerful, pounding, driving drum playing, and when I heard that album, I was just blown away by his drum playing. And also I got a chance to see the band live in Stockholm later the same year. This was in 1976. That was my first real concert that I went to. I think I was 12 years old. I went with my best friend from school, and his mother was with us. And so when I saw this concert and the drummer, he had a drum solo with magnesium flashes and bombs going off and stuff. I was just so overwhelmed by the power, you know. I just felt like this is what I want to do. This is my call. This is my purpose, you know. So, and from that day, I never had a doubt about that. So yeah, I would say Cozy Powell, he gave me the kick in the ass to start doing it. But after that, I've been inspired by other drummers as well. But I mean, John Bonham, Ian Pace, Cozy Powell, I would say those are the three main inspirations for me. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Let's go to Europe. First Europe years. You entered the band after Wings of Tomorrow. I want to ask you, who had the idea to change the musical direction and record the final countdown? Was the producer or the band?
No, we see, the thing is, when we make new music, we never really know in advance what kind of a direction the music will go. It will, you know, we let the music live its own life and and take us, rather like we make the songs and we just decide. It's more like depending on some power from above that, you know, will come to us and guide us, that gives us the music, and then we take it from there, basically. So the final countdown was exactly the same, and I know that we back in those days, Joey wrote most of the songs and did finish demo tapes with drum machines and everything. So it was basically just a copy paste business back in the day when we recorded that album. And I remember he was very inspired by, because he had heard Jump by Van Halen, and you know, there were kind of synthesizers and those kind of sounds coming into the rock genre that we were playing. So I think he was just inspired by that, and used synthesizer when he was composing the songs. So the final countdown was actually the fanfare for the final countdown was actually written by Joey a couple of years before, as an intro for a DJ that had a DJ show in a discotheque in Stockholm. So it's kind of interesting. It was you know, supposed to go on when the discotheque opened up, and so the people would understand that, okay, time to dance. So and then he just after he you know, he didn't use the intro for anything. It was actually John Levin that came up with the idea that you know, they were hanging around at that discotheque one evening drinking beer, and John said that, hey, this intro is really cool. Maybe you should try and make a song out of it. And so that's how it came around. And yeah, so we don't actually have any musical direction set out from the beginning. We trust totally in the whatever, from wherever the music comes to us, that it will take us in the right direction. And so far, I think the reason why we started playing again in 2004 was that we said that, okay, so if we're going to do this, we're going to trust totally in the music and just let it, you know, become whatever it becomes. And so that's how we make the albums and the songs, music.
And did you imagine the success it got all over the world when you record this album?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we ever thought in the you know, like, okay, let's make this and see if it becomes successful. Of course, we wanted to be as successful as possible, but we never had any thought that it would be, you know, #1 in 25 countries around the world and sell, you know, like up like around 8 or 9 million albums in the first year. So we just did what we felt was the right thing, and then all the other everything else was just like right timing with the right people at the record companies and the right kind of musical movements in around the world. They were ready for an album like The Final Countdown, and we had a great deal of help from MTV, of course, with a video that we did for The Final Countdown, and so a lot of you know, a lot of stars aligned in the right way when we recorded and released The Final Countdown.
And do you still enjoy playing these famous songs on stage now?
Very much. I used to say that it's every time we play it, it's like playing it for the first time when we play it live, because every night there's a new audience, and some audience, most of the people in the audience have never been to a Europe show. They've heard the song, but they've never been to Europe show. So it's basically like playing it the first time, and it's always, I mean, the energy rush you get from the audience when we start playing it, it's like just pushing a button and people go crazy, you know, and that energy rush is you know, I would say it's almost like some kind of a narcotics. You get an enormous rush from it, you know, and you never want it to end. So yeah, it's basically like playing it the first time every night. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah.
Great.
The cosmic energy has
Yeah,
Robert
exactly.
Plant said.
Yeah. No, it's never, you know, it's never boring playing the older songs. For me, I see it more as a challenge every night to try and make it a little different from the night before, just to, you know, keep myself on the edge, so I don't, you know, become lazy or start you know, just depending on my you know, whatever skills I have. It's fun to challenge myself every night.
What led the band to disbandment in the 19s? The grunge, other things?
Yeah. Well, the thing was when I would say there were a lot of different factors, or a couple of different factors. One, that we've been together, been touring almost extensively for 10 years. So we were kind of burned out a little. We had some problem with the management at the time, and we also had well, when we started working on the songs, when we started working on the album Prisoners in Paradise, we had the record company supporting us, like a you know, A1 Prio, but as we started working on the album, and when we got to the mixing stage of the album, the grunge had already come and you know, basically, you know, just ripped off the floor for us. We just free falling, sort of. But so that, I would say that was probably the biggest reason for us to we just felt like the record company didn't support us anymore. They were just supporting, well, we had the same record company as Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains at the time, so that's where they, you know, put all the attention. So they just basically released our album without any promotion or any planning or anything. So it died a very unfair and cruel death, I would say, because I mean, listening to it today, I still find some of the songs being my you know, favorite Europe songs. So yeah.
No, sorry. I want to say that the song "Till My Heart Beats Down Your Door," I believe that is one of the finest songs of Europe, and you never play it live. Why?
No, that's true. That's true. Well, actually, I think it's John Norum. He doesn't really enjoy playing the songs from that album because it's not him playing on the album. So it's always a little bit of a trying to convince him that, well, the people out there, they want to hear this song. So we actually managed to squeeze in Prisoners in Paradise a couple of shows and stuff like that. So we're you know, working on it slowly and steadily. But I agree with you. I would love to play that song and many of the other songs as well. But the problem is when you go on stage and you play at a festival, for instance, you only got so much time to perform. Maybe, you know, it can be up to an hour or something. And there are some songs that we just have to play, really. So many songs we have to, you know, even if we want to play them, we don't have time to play them. So it's a little bit of a, yeah, that's a little weird.
And now that you talk about the split up of the band, you work with Glenn Hughes in the early 90s, and even with John Levine and Mick Mihaly. And
yeah.
I have always believed that the performance you gave in the album Burning Japan Live is, yeah, I believe, is one of the best live shows I ever listened. And yeah, I want to ask you, how did you get to work with Glenn Hughes, and how can you describe your experience with him?
Oh yeah, right. Well, the thing was, he had a Swedish record company at the time, and he was recording a new album, From Now On, as it was called.
Wow.
Yeah. And after the sessions were or the album was recorded, they got rid of the drummer for some reason, I don't know. And so I think it was John Levin or Mick Mihaly that told Glenn Hughes that, well, let's call Ian because he's free, you know. So I just received a call from the record company, and the guy asked me if I was interested in playing with Glenn Hughes. And to me, I mean, Glenn Hughes and Deep Purple has always been a dream. You know, it's been one of my iconic, you know, the main influences for me. So to get a chance to play with Glenn Hughes was really flattering and really, of course, tempting. So I immediately said yes. So what we did was we recorded two songs more for that album From Now On, like two bonus tracks that were supposed to be for Japan, basically. So we did Burn and we did You Keep On Moving as bonus tracks. Mm-hmm. So you can hear those songs on the Japanese version of From Now On. And then we basically rehearsed for a week, and then we went to Japan and did a tour. So yeah, that album, Burning Japan, was recorded. I think it was the second show I did with Glenn Hughes. So I was a little bit on the edge, really trying to play everything right and to be able to perform all those fantastic songs, you know, like Burn and You Keep On Moving, Stormbringer, Lady Double Dealer, all those songs, yes, and even songs from the Hughes Thrall album, Muscle and Blood, and I Got Your Number, and so many great songs, Coast to Coast, you know, to be able to play those songs with one of the original members from Deep Purple, that was really a big thing, I think. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it didn't last for long because I guess Glenn had some other record company that bought the rights for the albums, and so I think he settled with a different band, basically.
Okay. So, but is everything okay with Glenn?
Yeah, sure. I've seen him. I think it was last or 2 years ago. In here in Sweden, he was touring with his solo band, which actually was basically Swedish musicians, all of them. But that's a different story. Then again, I don't think I would have time to do Glenn Hughes since we normally have quite a lot of gigs with Europe. So, but no, we didn't part with any, you know, there wasn't any bad vibes or anything. It was just like, you know, as a solo artist, you have one band on this album, on the next album you have another band maybe. So, but you never know. Maybe we'll play with him again. you never know. But I think he was kind of by himself a lot when we were on tour, because the whole band was all Swedish guys. So I guess maybe he felt a little bit on the outside when we were talking and all that. So, but it was a great band. It was great, and I agree with you. I think the Burning Japan album is one of the actually greatest live albums around.
Yes,
yes,
that's right.
definitely.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
I listen in every week, a song or two songs, but I think it is great. And I want to ask you something more. I believe in the 2000, you worked with Nicola Kotzev before you joined Europe. How was that experience? Do you have good memories of recording that album?
Oh yeah, definitely. Nicola Kotzev, he had his own studio built in it's an island outside of Sweden called Åland, which is located right between Finland and Sweden in the Baltic Sea. So he lived there on that island, and he had his own studio built there. So I went there, and he sent me a cassette tape with all the demo songs. So I just started the songs and learned them, and then I went over to Åland and we recorded the drums in his studio. And he's a good friend. I mean, he's real. He will never rip you off. He's very correct. I mean, he's studied. He's a classically trained violin player, and he knows how to score music for huge orchestras and stuff like that. But also a brilliant hard rock guitar player, like Richie Blackmore kind of style. Basically, he called me and asked if I wanted to put down drums on his. Actually, he had a band called Baltimore before Brazen Abbott. So I was playing drums on one of those Baltimore albums as a start. And then after he split up that band, he started working on his own project, Brazen Abbott. And he wanted me to play drums there, and John Levin played bass. Mick McHale played keyboards on one or two of the albums. So he's a very ambitious man, a very skilled musician, very a good man. I really like him. Yeah, and we're still friends. I asked him a couple of years ago if we were going to do something again, and he said, "Yeah, well, we'll see what happens." But I think he moved back to Bulgaria, where he comes from Sofia, this capital city. I think so. But it was a great time, great experience, and I also recorded in I think it was 1994. After Europe sort of took a break in the 90s, I reformed my own band Trilogy from back in the
Lost Provider, the album.
Yeah, that's right, and that was also recorded at Nicola Kotzev's studio. So we did a lot of things together for a time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You also play drums in a couple of songs on the album Dactylis Glomerata with the Kings of Doom, Candlemas. Do you like Candlemas?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. It's the funny thing. Leif Edling, the bass player, the main sort of the brain behind the band, the songwriter. He used to be singer for my band Trilogy back in 1979 or 80 or something like that. So he not for a long time though. He's not a good singer.
No,
he's a better Doom songwriter. So we did a show together in Stockholm with Candlemas. I remember their original drummer. He couldn't do it because he went on a funeral. I think it was for a family member. So they asked me if I could step in and do that show. So I said, yeah, sure, yeah. Very cool. And what I remember was it was a small club in Stockholm, and it was packed from wall to wall with people. And I think in the end, at the end of the show, people were up on stage and doom dancing together with the band. You know, it was a crazy event, but it was great fun. It was a totally different thing and a totally different vibe from Europe. You know, every song went half speed compared from Europe song. So a very doomy, very heavy tempos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those songs that I recorded, that was a couple of years later on. And I know Mike Amott from Arch Enemy. He played guitar on one or maybe both of those songs that I played on that album. I just recently heard them. I like them. It's very doomy. It's very dark, but it's fun music at the same time.
Yes, yes, great.
I have a question about the reunion with Europe. You split up in 98, 99. You met again. Yeah. Am I right? How was that? What got you?
Yeah, well, we after we took this break, sort of, we stayed in touch and talked through the years, you know, and some of us played together with, well, me, Mick, and John, obviously, with Glenn Hughes and stuff like that. And then it was we had it was a promoter who asked us if we wanted to play on the Millennium Night Eve in Stockholm. It was going to be a huge show on an outdoor show in the middle of the winter. It was like minus 25 degrees, really, really freezing cold. So we said absolutely yes, we will do it, because it was such a crazy and big event. I mean, playing into the next millennia, it was that was a cool thing. It was like Jesus walked the earth, year zero, the Vikings were walking the earth, you know, 1,000 years ago, and then us into the next millennia. So it was a big thing. So we accepted and said, yeah, let's do it. But we never talked about reuniting for full scale. It was just for that show to start with. So it was 3 years later we started talking about when Joey had finished his last solo album, and yeah, that's when we started talking about getting the band together and start doing it for real, sort of. And I think we realized that we missed each other. We missed the band, and we missed the working together and being, you know, it's like a body with arms and legs, you know. It's if one is missing, you can't do it the same way, you know. It's not necessarily have to be not as bad, but or worse than Europe, but it's a different thing. So if you want to there's a certain chemistry when with all the band members together in the band, you know. It's and I think Joey was kind of little you know, fed up with being a solo artist, having to make all the decisions by himself and have the whole responsibility as a solo artist. That's a heavy thing. So I think when we met and we started talking about putting the band together, we actually felt that it was like a family reunion, basically. You know, it felt like, yeah, realized the strength of the five of us together. So and we also said that we said that we're not going to do this as just like a nostalgic act, just playing old songs. We want to produce new music and be here today and make new music, you know. So that was always the intention of for the band to reunite.
Great.
Yeah.
Which is the album you like the most from the 19s, and which from the current stage?
Yeah, well, the Final Countdown is obviously it's very special because it was the first album, the first time for me to be in a professional recording situation and in a professional studio in Switzerland where we recorded it, and everything was fresh and new and for the first time, and great songs, and well, the Final Countdown happened all over the world and took us to the stars. So that album is of course very, very special. But looking back at it, I think actually the album that has the most great songs and the best playing from me personally, it's Princess in Paradise, from the 90s, and also from the after the reunion, I would say War of Kings is a great album. I love that too. It's so many great. We just released. We just did it totally freely. We didn't think too much about holding back in any way. We just, if I wanted to do that drum fill, I just went for it, and without a producer telling me that now you can do that because it's too much. So it was great fun playing that album and recording that album, and great songs as well. So yeah, I would say Princess in Paradise and War of Kings.
Okay.
And which is the Europe album that you like the least? You say, oh, this album I don't like it.
All right, I think it's maybe 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 Start from the Dark, because it was little, for me personally, it was so, yeah, not not that I don't like the songs or like the album, but it's probably the album where I had the less focus, and I wasn't really, it felt like I was searching for something, really. I wasn't really focused in the same way as I was with the albums coming after that. But it's like slagging one of your kids off, like saying that I like you more than any other. So it's really impossible to say. But what I'm thinking right now is it would be Start from the Dark.
Okay.
Are you talking with the members of Europe to record a new album?
Yeah. We're talking about it, and as far as I understand, the guys are recording, writing new songs during the winter now, and I've heard a couple of ideas from John Levin, and he's got some great ideas, really heavy stuff. But you never know what, as I said before in the beginning, you never know where in what direction the album is going to go. But we are at an early stage of writing and recording new songs for the album. So I guess we're gonna record it sometimes next year, and it's gonna probably, and hopefully it's gonna be out.
Okay.
Well, maybe a year from now.
Great news. Well,
yeah,
okay.
It's been if we manage to release it in a year's time, it's going to be 4 years between the War of Kings and or Walk the Earth and the new one. So yeah, so that's I think that's a pretty long time. But you know, it is as it is in the world. So it's we just sort of, it is a little bit of waiting the situation, seeing the situation out and everything. But we definitely have plans for a new album and to obviously come out and play as soon as possible.
Okay.
I was thinking about the energy on stage. Do you have a favorite audience in the world?
Yeah, well, it is different from different countries, sort of. I mean, if you go to Japan, for instance, they're very quiet and very listening very carefully for what the artist is saying and watching every little movement on stage, very observant. But and also they go crazy while you're playing, but as soon as you stop playing, they become dead quiet because they don't want to miss anything, they're watching. So the Japanese people are that way, and that's funny. It's very different. Swedish people are a little bit laid back, a little lazy, a little bit like
like colder,
quiet.
Yeah, a little colder, a little. It takes a little for them to get started. While when you go to like Italy or Spain or South America for that matter, it's like a instant instant ecstasy. People go crazy, and so it's I obviously prefer the audience that can let loose and go crazy. So yeah, we've done a couple of tours throughout South America, and I remember, for instance, we played it at the Viña del Mar show in Chile. It's one of the most amazing shows that we've done. But it's I would say altogether South America and south of Europe have the most exciting audience for me, at least. Yeah.
You have to know, Ian, that when you came to Argentina in 2010, the first time you came here, I went with Claudio. Well, the four of us, we always went to the shows, but in 2010, you threw the stick and I got it, and there it is.
Yeah. Cool. Wow.
And then
amazing.
we went to the hotel and we took a couple of pictures and we gave a hug and we talked. We were younger, but
No creo que se acuerde.
But I know you don't remember it, of course. But every day you have the same thing. But,
that's a lot of warmth and love, from the audience, and especially like South American audience and the Southern European people are a lot more emotional, and I think that's the way it should be. You should be able to hug each other and to show love and to be. I think people need that. And so that's also very devastating with the situation right now, that people basically can't hug each other. It's fucked up. But
well, we can make this deal if you want.
Right.
When you come to Argentina,
we can have a big hugging party.
We can share a beer or I don't know. Absolutely. If you eat asado if you want, but you have to go give us the VIP pass. So
right.
Once.
We'll do that. We'll drink beer and hug.
If you want,
eat some weird food.
It's a promise. From the team of music dealers. I won't forget this.
No, that's good. That's
in your house.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
In your house. Who's cooking?
In my house. Well, I think my wife and me, we sort of trying to do equal duties, but she's very, very, she's a very, very good cook, and she's very, strict about how to do it. So I feel like more like okay, is this good enough? Okay, sorry, I'll go out and sit in the waiting room.
You clean the dishes.
Sorry?
You clean the dishes?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do the cleaning, cleaning the floors. Right.
Part.
So, yeah,
that's
exactly.
good.
So we try.
The Friday night sessions were spectacular. How the idea for the Friday nights came about?
Well, I think it was Joey, or maybe even our manager, that came up with the first idea to because I mean, since the Corona thing and the pandemic took on, we a lot of artists wanted to to do things for their fans online. So we basically wanted to do the same, and the Friday nights with Europe, the band, was sort of born that way, and we did that. The lockdown sessions were recorded in each other's hometowns, and so it was kind of spread out, a new way of recording music, and so in a way it was kind of a learning process for us all. But I think it turned out really good, you know, and it seems like we had a good following from our fans, and a good reactions from them. So that was great fun. We're gonna continue doing the Friday nights with Europe, but with different things, you know, whatever crazy things we come up with, we're gonna
please
do.
Sorry, I interrupt you.
No problem.
You have to do, please. If you do it, I will know that you do it for me.
Right.
You can do the song "Hero" or the ones that I told you before, from Prison of in Paradise.
Yeah.
My heart, Beat Down.
Beat
Down. You
all
can
right.
do
that
2 songs. Tell to John, hey, John, play that song. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'll try to sell it into him. You know, it's he's a little bit thick-headed, but eventually maybe he will fold and do as I say. We will see.
Well, Ian, thank you for agreeing to make this interview, and
pleasure.
We'll catch you later, perhaps I don't know, in 2-3 years, when you come to Argentina.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can share a beer, a meal, if you want, of course.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much.
Nice
to meet you.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.